everyone, today I want to share my reflection about my experience teaching English at the Colombo Americano. This has been a really special experience for me because I've grown a lot as a teacher and also as a person. So for me, teaching English is not only about grammar or vocabulary. It's about understanding how students learn, how they feel, and how we can help them learn in a fun and meaningful way. Working with A1 pre-teens students has shown me that teaching needs creativity, passion, reflective every single day. So at the Colombo, classes are students certainted. This means students are the focus. They talk, interact, and think in English. My role is to guide them, support them, and make the learning process enjoyable. Throughout my practice, I've worked on 6 important areas that have really helped me grow as a teacher. So first, something I had to work on from very beginning was classroom management. Managing a group of teenagers is not always easy. Sometimes they see me as a friend because I look young, so I've learned to be kind but also firm. From the first day, my team teacher helped me set rules and routines with the students that made them feel part of the group and responsible for their behavior. One thing I've learned is to balance their energy. Their energy changed a lot. So some days they are very active. So after a game or a lively activity, I plan something calmer, like writing or reflection, everything. Every activity that helps me to calm my students, and that balance helps me that class go smoothly. And then I realized how important is it to have clear lesson aims. At first, my objectives were too general, but now I make them more specific. For example, instead of saying talk about weekends, I write students will use simple present to describe their weekend using 5 verbs. And I also show the objectives at the beginning of the class and ask if they understand. This helps help them focus and see their process at the end. And another big area I've learned to highlight better is pronunciation. It can be difficult for beginners, but at the Colombo we practice it in every class, with games, with songs, and with dialogues. Those aspects are important because in some cases some students have problems with sounds like th, so I use gestures or repetitions and I ask them to imitate me. I also work on rhythm and intonation, so they sound more natural, more international. And for me, the most important thing is to make them feel safe to make mistakes. That's how real learning happens, I think, in my point of view. And next, I want to mention interaction. Interaction is too important, and which is actually one of my favorite parts of teaching. Instead of me talking all the time, I encourage my students to speak to each other, because speaking is important when we are learning a new language, and to practice and to improve our pronunciation. They love activities like find someone who, where they walk around the classroom and ask questions to their classmates. It's fun, I think, and they use English naturally. And to make sure everyone participates, I change partners of them and give each student a specific role. While they work, I listen, and later give them feedback about the topic if they use the topic. For example, the situation, we are in a restaurant, we have to use this specific vocabulary and this specific grammar, for example, present simple, and so something related, I give feedback. Something else that I've improved a lot is how I demonstrate and set up activities. Giving clear instructions is essential. It's too important. I always explain step by step, showing examples, and sometimes do the activity with a volunteer to clarify them. And I also ask quiet questions like, are you working alone or in pairs, to check if they understood. Using a timer and giving short transitions between activities helps me keep everything organized and on time. For me, it's too important. The time, it's too meaningful. And finally, I've learned a lot about assessment. At the Colombo, assessment doesn't only happen in tests, it happens all the time. I give feedback during activities and at the end of the classes, sometimes using short reflections like exit ticket. I also use rubrics for projects and combine oral or writing evaluation. Each student has different stress, so this gives everyone a fair chance to show how they know. When I give feedback, I always start with something positive and then say what they can improve. This way, I think they feel support and motivated. And to summarize, to conclude, this experience has taught me that teaching is much more than explaining topics. It's about connecting with the students, being patient and creative and positive space for learning. I've learned to plan better, to communicate clearly, and to be flexible when things don't go as planned. Every class, even the ones that didn't go perfectly, has helped me grow. Teaching for me is a continuous journey of learning, reflection, and growth. So thank you so much for listening, and bye bye.